Okay, all right. All right. Greetings, dear Scorpio. Here we are. This one is for you. This is you, Scorpio. This is your general report for July 2018 season from Tarot Lumination. Okay? So, because it's a very important month out of the year, because of the eclipses, we're going to add some astro doodles. Okay? I hope you don't mind. Just if you want to, just mark your calendar for some dates. Just doing that alone will help. Okay, so it brings you into a point of awareness, a point of focus. First off, coming straight into July, at the very tippy end of June, there is that Cancer Capricorn full moon. Okay, so that's very harmonious and comfortable for you. I'm sensing that this will bring certain major things into culmination, understanding regarding basically things like I'll just show you. I'll show you guys in a moment. Hold on. Next thing, next date, significant date, July 12th. Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, and that is an eclipse. This is the first big eclipse to signal what's going to be happening in 2019 when all the Cancer Capricorn eclipses are going to start. Because the lunar north node is shifting into Cancer. Okay, big shifts. Okay, big transformational energies going on here. The next, we have another eclipse here, full moon eclipse, July 27th. The sun will now be in Leo and the moon will now be in Aquarius. This is an eclipse as well. Okay, next, stretching out, we're going into August 11th because we've got 3 eclipses in a row, and I just want to make you aware of this. Okay, 3 in a row. August 11th, the Leo new moon eclipse. So this is not a love and relationship reading, so we're going to go broad spectrum here, and you'll see what we're talking about. Give me a moment. So imagine this is kind of a clock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, and we're going to start over here. Okay, and the moon is going to go zooming around like this. So right at the end of, sorry. Right at the very end of June, we have this full moon here. Sun in Cancer, Sun in Cancer, and the moon in Capricorn. Okay, so this is your 3rd and 9th house. So it's definitely going to be to do with short-term things like communications, business communications between yourself and perhaps a significant other, because the polarity is going to emphasize relationship, because that's how these things will be experienced in the context of significant relationship, you and another and you. And so this is kind of like the setup for the first 2 weeks of July over here. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 2 weeks. Then you get to here. Okay, this is the big Cancer new moon eclipse. Okay, July 12th. Sun and the moon together up here in your 9th house. So guess what? It's very possible it's to do with long distance travel, foreign relationships, relationships all over the world. Perhaps you communicate with people all over the world, certainly above and way beyond your existing, let's say, local community. Like over here, everything was in like commuting distance. Okay, your local mates, your buddies, your siblings, friends, co-workers, and all that. But up over here, this is like the global horizon. This is the global aspect of everything. So what you might be coming to an awareness of is a huge expansion in your, let's say, connections with higher consciousness across the world, including foreign relations, foreign travel, okay? Higher knowledge, higher wisdom. Think of the Sagittarius energy, if you want to, the 9th house, breaking into new horizons, climbing to new heights of awareness and wisdom. So that's kind of an epic big deal. It's very harmonious for you, the Cancer Sun, with your Scorpio Sun. Next thing, we're going into tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. 2 weeks later, the full moon eclipse over here, okay? July the 27th. Sun in Leo, moon in Aquarius. So this is in your 4th and 10th house axis. Oh my gosh, home and family and career again. So the theme here feels like big shifts, big changes in home, family, location, siblings, like work, career, mission, destiny in this place in your world, and possibly massive upheavals and relocations, especially in home and business. Okay, in the way that upheavals in your home will affect the destiny in your world. Upheavals, okay, because let's just face it, okay, over here, I didn't mark it brightly because that's in August, but August the 11th, we get the massive Leo eclipse up here, the new moon. So huge polarities going on here with your career and home axis. So I sense big shifts in home and career, relocations of some kind, upheavals, eclipses, 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 out with the old, in with the new, no going back, okay? So let's get on with it. Let's just dive right in. I hope I didn't scare you or anything. Please, this is just tarot. It's very, very subjective. You can reinterpret however you want. Also, watch for your sun, moon, and rising, especially if they are different. If you've got a massive stellium, of course, just stay here. Also, bring your team in. Tarot Lumination works with a team. Think of it as team Tarot Lumination. I think of it as angels and interns. It's all happening simultaneously. We do the best to communicate to you a story that works for you as a form of guidance and protection, to give you like a heads up, like a weather report, okay? So we're doing the best we can, all right? We're going to use this beating heart spread from Tarot Lumination on the understanding that the whole idea is to get your heart as closely in alignment with you, your egoic self to your heart. We'll see how that, I'll show you when it comes out here. Cards are shuffled, all right, here we go. Okay, I made it a really big cut. I was really tempted to make it even, but I broke it up. Okay, let's get rolling here. Over here is the core heart center of you. The heart needs what it needs. It wants what it wants. And that's just how it is. Without that, there's nothing. So the heart is basically praying, hoping all day, every day that you are listening. Dear Scorpio, please understand that I am at the core of you, and I provide you with all the nutrients that you need in your life, beat by beat, pulse by pulse. And I also remove all the wastes from your life, beat by beat, pulse by pulse. So the closer we are in alignment, the smoother your life will be. The farther out of alignment, the more pain and misery. That sounded like a poem. Okay, over here, legacy energy. What are you bringing in with you, Scorpio? Obviously, with the Cancer, Capricorn full moon, it's harmonious. So you might be enjoying some of that, the realizations, the culminations of what's happening in your life at that point. Also, you might be still rattling from the eclipses early this year around February, because those were the Leo Aquarius eclipses, very hard squares to you. And right now in the planets, Mars is in Aquarius, and that's been pretty tough for a lot of people. It's very destabilizing for some people when it's out of whack, and it's been heavily squared for quite a while by Jupiter and the Leo energies. So you might be rattling around still, but at least stabilizing. Could be anything. We'll see. Here is the energy of now, the ever-present now. And of course, like we've said in the other videos, not everybody is comfortable with being in the now, in the present, simply because you have to be grounded, present, conscious, and here. Okay? And sometimes it's very miserable because you have to basically face life exactly as it is, not on a pre-existing template or a pre-existing, let's say, projection for the future, or any kind of status quo or anything. This is now. Exactly what are you feeling right now? How are things with you right now? Nothing less, nothing more. Just now. Now is where you own your power. The power is executed through your decisions, through the healing power of your decisions. So it behoves you to stay very conscious, very present, very grounded, and very here, so that you have the maximum access to this phenomenon, this amazing phenomenon of decision making that we have as human beings. So what would that energy look like in order to love thyself? Okay, because that's the most important decision you can make every waking second of your life. Everything is secondary to this. Over here, how do we do this effectively? Once there's a pattern that seems to be unfolding here, how do you maximize this? How do you optimize that so it actually works for you? Love thyself Love thyself, and that percolates to your loved ones, and that comes through in like an aura. You'll see in just a second. So let's say you start to get that. This is the beat of the heart, beating heart. Boom, boom. And this is like the pulsing. Boom. So let's keep going, because there's always a release, okay? Pulse and release, pulse and release. So we're generating consequences when we stay present in the now and we live through our decisions consciously and deliberately. If you're constantly outsourcing all your decisions, giving away all your power to institutions, beliefs, lifestyle package deals, owners, bosses, people who essentially you feel that they own you and control you, this starts to feel more and more and more like fate. When the more and more you stay present in the now, this becomes more and more like a consequence, like you are a participant in your life. You are actually you are a creator. Okay. Now over here, what happens if you slip up? What if you're really out of alignment with yourself? What does that look like over here? And decisions are being made poorly, with poor outcomes. On the other hand, what if you are staying present and activating this, no matter how hard this might be? What does that look like? Okay, over here, prospects and momentum that lead you straight into the next beat. So I'm hoping you can see that this is a heart shape, and this is the heart energy at the very, very core. It's always pulsing. This has an aura, okay? This aura comes from here. The aura outside of here, which is over here, comes from here, which comes from here. I hope that makes sense. I hope you can use your most vivid imagination to picture that, okay? So, dear Scorpio, let's have a look underneath here. Circumstantial energy, environmental influences, whatever you want to call it. I think of it as weather. We're going to make the best of it, Scorpio, because essentially we have to. Otherwise, it's like giving up on life. So you have the Seven of Pentacles here. My feeling is that you're very, very aware of all the good stuff that's going on right now and all the deeply challenging stuff right now. You're aware of your values, your gifts, your talents. You're aware of all the opportunities, the physical realities of substance that actually work in your life. And you're also aware perhaps of a lifetime of neglect and lack of repair, lack of maintenance, simply because of lack of awareness on the things that can obstruct and restrict the growth of these values and assets. It's just basically a weather pattern that's indicating it's time, Scorpio, to take very, very close look at things, make an appraisal as though you're like doing an appraisal on a piece of property or a farm or something, thinking, okay, what's all the good stuff? Okay, that's great. We got that. Now let's focus on repairs and maintenance, because that's where we need to focus all the energy right now so we can maximize the good stuff. All right, let's have a look. What are you radiating here? Okay, more pentacles. This is good. So maybe this is to do with money issues, career, money, home, money, career, where I want to go back to this, okay? Because we're talking about the 9th and the 10th houses here, very much about being out in the world, your place in this world, having the wisdom, the knowledge, and the ability to move into higher frequencies, higher levels of being. That's going to be triggered whether you like it or not. So you might as well get in the zone, which is going to set you up for what appears here like radical new shifts and opportunities in what you would call career or destiny or your place in this world. And all of those things would be happening in contrast to the very foundations of your life, basically your home and family, your people, the place where you sleep, your friends where you hang out and where you communicate, like people that you chat with and text on your smartphone or at the office or whatever, and your family and friends. But over here, this is radically different. This is much bigger. This is almost like getting like a promotion in a career. So it feels to me that with the little Six of Pentacles here, it's actually, you're already doing a good job of bringing things into balance and harmony in such a way that you're realizing there is an ebb and a flow. There are times where it's very, very important to focus on the harvest itself, like put in the work, invest, and then take a break, and then do the repairs and maintenance. It's like being a good farmer. So you realize there's a time for all of it. There's a time for rest. There's a time for play. Sometimes you need to check in and get rest and balance and be on the receiving end of good fortune, good things that come to you, compensations and rewards from all your efforts. And at the same time, that puts you in a very strong position to be very generous with others who are deserving as well. Okay, because it all goes in a big circle. So this is very nutritious. From my perspective as your reader, this is very encouraging, very nutritious. That indicates to me you are in your own way. It doesn't mean we're maximizing yet, but you are like getting closer and closer into an alignment with yourself in a way that's very wholesome. What are you bringing in with you? Okay, well, with the Eight of Swords here, my feeling is that you've been really struggling to get to this point. And my feeling is for the last 6 months, perhaps even 2017 and the year before that, because of Saturn in Scorpio. I mean, that was a heck of a journey for all Scorpios. The pressure's been coming off a little bit because it went through Saturn in Sagittarius. Sorry, I'm going back way back in time. I got the numbers wrong. We lived through Saturn in Scorpio years ago, then the Sagittarius energy. Now we're in Saturn in Capricorn here, still in the early days, but it feels to me that you've taken a lot of hits. You've taken you've endured a lot of damage, pain, and suffering, and you are still in the process of it. Almost like, to me, it feels like licking your wounds, dealing with a lot of stressful factors that are still out there because you're actually in the process of this, okay? This is process. This is time-based. So, because we live in a time continuum. And my feeling is that the little Eight of Swords, is an indicator of how much stress you've had to endure to maximize and make the best of these challenges, especially the Leo Aquarius axis from last year and through February this year and now here right now. Please remember, Scorpio, that this is the last batch of Leo Aquarius eclipses. So you're going to be kind of off the hook here. My feeling is that you're going to be really glad when this is over. And by the middle of September onwards, things are going to smooth out a lot more for you, okay, Scorpio? But for the time being, my feeling is if you were like here in a private meeting and something, it would be like you would be holding yourself up as best you could. And as I am your witness, it's just like, oh, hi, Scorpio. Yeah, I can see you having a really rough time to the point where there's a lot that you still can't handle, and I'm just kind of reassuring you that it is okay. You don't have to take it personally. You can tell yourself that you're in a maze, that this is a puzzle, and it's okay to be this way, and you will figure it out. This is nothing. It's not personal. No one is trying to destroy you or harm you. This, to me, looks like just simple collective energy that has accumulated, almost like static, that accumulates around people and activities. Until the point where it becomes almost unbearable and you have to keep going. So you just do what you have to do mentally, psychologically, spiritually in order to keep going. In other words, you deliberately walk in blinders and focus on the things that absolutely count right now, which is this energy here and this energy here, ignoring the things that are still very stressful, because there's always going to be stressors anyway. And we're still going to be living through these eclipses, okay, for July and August. And because it's eclipses, they are going to have like ripple effects for months afterwards. So I feel that this is okay. I'm okay to see the Eight of Swords here for you. I think it's actually a sign that you're doing extremely well under very challenging conditions. What about the present? What about the now? Oh, hey, yeah. Okay, this to me feels like relief. It's almost like I want to give you a big hug, Scorpio. I want to say thank you. Thank you for hanging out here with Tarot Lumination. I know it's been tough for some of you guys. In fact, it's been brutal for some of you guys, but you're coming out of it. Saturn in Capricorn is favorable for you. Pluto in Capricorn is favorable for you. The Cancer Capricorn axes are favorable for you. And somehow I think you know this, Scorpio. Maybe you're not an astrologer or a tarot person, but maybe you just need to hear it from someone like Tarot Lumination, that everything's going to be okay. Okay? And This is inevitable. These huge shifts, these eclipses are really going to shake things up, rock things up. Think of eclipses as evolutionary gates. You go through one side and you come out the other. There's no going back. So it's something you might as well celebrate it. You might as well enjoy it and hang out with your tribe, Scorpio. Be with your people. Celebrate like a coming together of people who've endured what you have endured. It doesn't have to be other Scorpios or any other sign in particular, just anyone who's had to put up with this incredibly stressful chapter in their lives and come out the other side okay. You deserve to celebrate. It's like you deserve to party, especially with the ones who love you and the ones that you love, to the point where it's almost like, well, I don't want to like put a finite definition on this because we're still in play. This is still very, very active here. We still have to live through these eclipses, but it looks to me like you're doing a good job. And my feeling is that now that you know, because Tarot Illumination is telling you that you are in the right place at the right time with the right people, and all these things that might feel very chaotic and disruptive over here, this is meant to happen, okay? So there's no point in resisting it. The whole idea is to go with the flow. And in fact, embrace it. Turn the whole thing into a party, okay? Do the Scorpio deep transformational healing thing, wizard stuff on it. Turn all this into this, okay? Because this is very, very good news. For you to be there, to be able to basically maintain your confidence against all odds, that's terrific. And hold a steady ground. All right, so in this jovial frame of mind here, it allows you to activate the healing power of your decisions. What does this look like? It's liberty, it's liberation, it's redemption, it's reconciliation, it's freedom. It's a chance to start from scratch, from new. This card, Judgment, number 20, just before the end of with the World card. It's all about breaking free of, perhaps lifetimes of servitude, lifetimes of psychic, spiritual, emotional imprisonment. Even in this lifetime, maybe you've suffered tremendous injuries, physical and mental, psychological, emotional, financial, work, career, relationships, trauma, accidents, death, all of it. And you've endured, you've been steady, constantly steady, work, invest, harvest, repair, maintenance, repeat. Well done, Scorpio. And the weather is giving you an affirmation that that's what you needed to know. So in order to love thyself, it's important to be incredibly grateful for the skills and gifts and talents and resources and opportunities that you do have now. Bless your enemies, bless all these stressors as things that have brought you into a newer, higher place. And be willing to forgive and forget. Understand that in order to evolve at this kind of level, when you're dealing with this kind of energy, it requires tremendous generosity of spirit to forgive anyone and anything that was an oppressor in some kind of way, shape, or form, and to ask for blessings and forgiveness if you have been some kind of oppressor to others in some way. In other words, I release you. I ask for release and forgiveness from you. I forgive you. I am forgiven. I forgive you. I am forgiven. That is like unlocking the key, the doorway to freedom. So how do you do that consistently so that it actually works? So it's not just a concept here at the Tarot Illumination channel. It's an actual thing you can put into practice. Okay? Act with love. Always consider the next decision. Pull away from war and conflict. What is the most loving thing you can do? Deliberately walking away from the battlefields of life and world and all these stressors that are out there and saying, you know what, Scorpio? You know what? You're talking to yourself, of course, doing a lot of self-healing. You're saying, you know what? What is the most loving thing? Put it down. Just one sentence, one definition. What do I need right now from me, and how am I going to get that? Not in the egotistical, self-satisfying type of way or self-aggrandizement. In terms of love, What is the most loving thing I can do for myself right now that generates the freedom? In other words, do I have to get back in touch with someone with where I hold a grudge or a deep grievance and ask to offer them forgiveness and freedom and liberation? Do I need to seek that loving gesture from a significant other, like, please release me, please let me go, whatever that is? It's the reciprocal. It's one and the same thing, forgiving and being forgiven. I am forgiving, I am forgiven. So that's what I'm sensing here for you, Scorpio. And in so doing, if you see this as a formula, as a strategy, as a plan, then you kind of go, oh, now I see what Terra Illumination is talking about. And it generates consequences. It's actually a form of generating evidence of love. Okay, the King of Pentacles here. I know it's about money, it's about material mastery, physical mastery, and all the incredible work and patience and pressures it takes to achieve and operate in a three-dimensional world where almost everything can feel like it's against you all day, every day, and to come out at this level of mastery. That takes love. The best way, most effective way to do that is to love thyself. Forgive and be forgiven, act with love, because then what you're doing is you're creating more seeds. You're literally planting seeds of love. And what happens? You become a master. You become a master at generating wealth. And I'm not just talking about a bank account. I'm talking about spiritual wealth, emotional wealth, relationship wealth, wealth in like your destiny. It's almost like you're creating uh, a potential increase in wealth in your destiny up here by taking care of yourself at the home and the hearth over here, deep internal levels, and over here that translates well into physical worldly success. I see that this King of Pentacles card here relates very closely. I think it's going to be very much to do with the Leo new moon eclipse in August. So this is kind of a prep. So I'm looking really wide on this reading here. So I'm happy to see this for you. It's like you're creating success. So what happens if you slip up? What happens if you decide, I can't handle this, it's too much stress, all these people who messed up my life, I'm going to carry a grudge, and I'm going to use those as weapons, and I'm going to justify my existing poverty and limitations accordingly. What does that look like when you're basically not loving yourself? Okay, you lose it. Basically, it's like getting a divorce from yourself. Everything that you've built up, all of a sudden, it's ruined. Okay, with the Queen of Pentacles here, like in a shadow expression, losing all the wealth and generosity that you could have built up in friends, love, home, relationship, hearth, family, career, investments, security, above and beyond your monthly or daily paycheck or college degree or school or work opportunities. That all gets flushed down the toilet when you neglect to love thyself, and the ability, and like it's almost like an obligation to forgive and be forgiven in order to create the liberty so that the love and generosity can flow. Okay, it's like you deliberately breaking open blocked up, jammed up culverts and irrigation ducts. Everything that obstructs the growth needs to be broken open and liberated, like a search and rescue thing for yourself. So when you do that effectively, look what happens. You create wealth that generates more wealth. It's almost like you create a joyful marriage between yourself and yourself. In other words, your deep, intuitive, home, loving self down there at the third and fourth house. Okay, over here, the feminine part of you, Cancer energy being very feminine in its way. Not whether you're a guy or a woman, no matter. And bringing that into a marriage up here. Okay, I hope you can see this. I'm trying to show this as a marriage where you become in harmony with yourself. The divine masculine with the divine feminine, for example. That's how some people might translate that. Over here, let's have a look. Prospects and momentum. Okay, this triggers basically the enthusiasm and opens the gate for more good stuff to come to you, which generates more good stuff for others. All these wands energies out there vibrating like a massive, massive, like pulsing uh, light of inspiration to that works for you, but that also radiates well beyond you. It radiates to others as well. It's like it's very joyful, passionate coming together of self with self here, bringing yourself deeply, closely into harmony with yourself. It might have been a very painful journey to get to this point, but again, what I'm seeing here is a culmination, and because of the eclipses, there's no going back. So a healthy Scorpio would have taken all these challenges and turned them into uh, assets, rewards, victories. Okay, and that's going to show up, I think, more towards the end of September for you guys. Okay, so that's all I can share with you for now. I'm not going to say anything more. I'll spoil it. So I'll leave this over here. Please watch for your sun, moon, and rising if they're all different. And cross-watch for your significant others. Okay, bye-bye, bye Scorpio. All the best. You'll be fine. Bye-bye.